Hey guys, this is Loony and welcome to the 12th episode of my hardcore adventure. Today's episode is going to be all about preparations for our Guardian farm. But before we get into it today, I just want to say one thing. Because over the past few days, a ton of people have been subscribing to the channel. And you guys showed up way sooner than I expected. So I just wanted to say a massive thank you. Share with you that it's very, very inspiring that you're already here. And I'm incredibly motivated to give it everything I got, push very hard, and make this subscription worth your while. So let's get to the preparations for our Guardian farm. What we're gonna do here is get rid of all the water underneath the monument floor. The reason for this is that we're gonna use a very cool Guardian farm design made by Nambong. And we are actually gonna place the killing chambers underneath the monument. So to get everything in there, what I will do is dig down to bedrock underneath this monument. Before we're gonna do that, we're definitely gonna get a beacon, but the first step is to just get rid of the water there. Now, while we are placing sand blocks down with our auto clicker, we occasionally run into a situation where there's a plant on the bottom and it will kill the sand blocks as they are coming down. So we have to go down and remove this plant ourselves, but we also want to make sure that we have a way to get back up. So I leave one sand block on the road next to it that makes a little ledge for me to climb up on. After dividing the entire floor of the ocean monument into 4 wide strips, it was time to go ahead and drain them. So the first thing we did is take the top off and just clear one strip at a time so we have minimum Guardian interference. We don't want to get shot in our back from a different lane. So with only one lane opened up, we took our sponges and started removing the water sources. And this process, it took a little while because we only had 26 sponges in this monument. And at the beginning, I was placing them all over the place. But after a few lanes, I found my rhythm and the whole thing started going a lot faster. Still, it did take us quite a while to get all the water sources out, and after that we removed the sand walls, but realized that mobs were spawning in at the bottom, so I had to light up the entire place with temporary light sources. Even though it took us a while, it was really great to see the bottom of this monument cleared out. Next up, it was time to go up top and remove all the water and the guardians from above the monument. Now this part of the process is a lot harder and more dangerous. So before we go up there, let's just grab some prismarine blocks so we can build a defense line, something to hide behind. Because so far the only thing that is up there is the basic frame around which we will build the sandbox to encase the monument structure. And while we are up here, we will run into the same sort of problem that we had under the floor. There will be plants on the ocean floor and we will have to get rid of them, so we have to dive down. Now, the thing here is that I will just take every little bit of damage serious, because these guardian hits might not kill me, but I just want to avoid any situation where I get into any real trouble from damage. So as much as I can, I'm trying to avoid every single hit. So after looking at this corner of the structure very puzzled for a little while, I decided that this is probably the best way to fix it. I will make a line 1 row above the water and then try to place the sand blocks below it. So if any guardian tries to target us, hopefully we can just jump, which means that we'll break the line of sight very briefly, but long enough to prevent them from actually releasing their beam attack. The good news, it worked to perfection. As you can see happen here, where I'm jumping to put the line of blocks in between the guardian and myself, breaking line of sight and preventing him from hitting us. After completing the path at all 4 sides on either side of the part where we walked, we started using the auto clicker to put the sand down to the ocean floor. At this point, we're still trying to squeeze the most out of our day, so we're working through the night, even though occasionally we will have some phantom attacks. But phantoms aren't any real concern if you have solid armor and a good bow to get rid of them. So usually I just keep going through the nights, but I have my bow ready and I know the hotkey, so I can switch easily, try to shoot them out of the sky as quickly as possible and get back to placing the blocks. With our prismarine safety rails, this whole process was pretty easy. It went alright. But by the time we were just about to finish it, it was time to come up with a plan about what to do next. And I figured I want to get to the point where I can put the Guardian Farm in. And then after the Guardian Farm is in there, then I will go back up to get rid of the remainder of the water and the Guardians that are still up here. And only after we finish that is the Guardian Farm gonna give us decent rates, because there are lots of water blocks still left up here, and there will only be a few within the actual farm. But if we get rid of all the other water, lots and lots of Guardians are gonna start spawning in our aquarium inside. The thing is, we cannot place the aquarium yet. It doesn't fit because it will be sticking out just a little bit at the entrance of the monument. So what we're gonna do first is section off a small portion here and fill it with sand as well, so we can dry this part out before we start installing the farm. The thing is that now it is becoming a little bit more dangerous to go down, because we are forcing more and more Guardians into less and less water. So there are plenty here. And I want to get in the water to remove the plants, but out as quickly as possible. And I want to take care not to do this with my elytra on. I do need to have my protection for chest plate, or this is actually a dangerous thing to do. While trying to fill in this section leading up to the entrance of the monument, we eventually ran out of sand blocks. And although we do own quite a few, our investment is stuck for a while, because these outer walls of sand that we just placed, they have to stay in place for quite a long time. We have to get rid of them eventually, but not until the Guardian Farm is complete. All of the water has been removed. We placed a perimeter around the monument and dried out that area as well, and it is going to be big. So before then, we're going to find more sponges, and basically it will take some time before we get to that point. So right now, we're shoveling for some extra sand. After getting the sand and making our way back to the monument, we placed in the final dividing lines and started draining these sections. After finishing every single one, I decided to put a roof on it, because I do not want to die from fall damage here, and it is pretty high. When we started clearing the water out of these small sections, I had to pick a fight with the Guardians that were trapped inside. I tried to be smart about it, which most of the time it worked, and sometimes it didn't, but in the end, we removed all the water, started clearing out the sand from the bottom, and it was time to place in the beginning of our Guardian Farm structure. And while we were preparing to do this, there was a very nice surprise. It turns out that there is at least one slime chunk inside of our monument. And that's gonna help a lot, because I decided not to check my world seed. So I have no idea what is where, and finding a slime chunk could have been difficult, could have meant a lot of mining and a lot of trips to a swamp at night before then. But this is a major bonus, and maybe we can actually decide to make a slime farm underneath the floor of our ocean monument. But it would harm the rates of our Guardian Farm at least a little bit. So I'm gonna put off that decision for later. Decide whether we need it, how much we need it, if we want to place it here or somewhere else. For now, it fixes a big problem, because we will have access to the early game slime without having to go to the swamp at night, which can be a little scary, and it also takes a lot of time. So this is a very, very nice find. Now, for the actual design of the Guardian Farm, we're placing a platform here, which has a cross shape, and it is the top of the Guardian Farm. This is the only surface area on the top. It's not gonna occupy any more space than this, which amazes me, because it's very, very compact for what it does. Now, I will not go into detail as to how it is made and how it works. Very basically, it's a spawning chamber with pillars in that forces the Guardians down, puts them through a bath of lava, pulls them back together and kills them. And you can set this up in an XP mode or a drop collection mode, both of which work exceptionally well. And that's also the reason why I won't talk about it, because Nambon, who designed this thing, has done so in much detail. And if this is your thing and you like to learn more about technical aspects of Minecraft, I really recommend watching this video and more of his videos, because the amount of research that this guy has put into his work and his designs is incredible. Before you go and watch his video though, quick word of warning, do not try to multitask it. If you want to know more about it, go and watch the full 30 minutes. and do not do anything else, because you will learn a ton if you decide to put the time in. If you multitask it, you will probably remember nothing. If watching 30 minutes is too much to ask, go over there anyway. Like his video for the work that he did and download the World download, because that is a great way to see how the farm works, and I used it as a reference as well to build mine. With the top of the farm in place, it was time to continue on the spawning chambers and the drop collection system. But if we proceed there now, this is where we run into problems, because at this point we do not have the iron we need for all the hoppers. So next episode, we are actually going out, exploring a little bit, and we will find some villagers to set up our iron farm. And I can give you a little teaser about that. I tried to be smart with the iron farm and combine things I had seen in several videos. It did not work very well. I made a few mistakes, and although it was working, the farm was also breaking a lot, and I had to try out various fixes, which I did learn a lot while doing this. So sometimes it's good to experiment, but sometimes it's also good to just trust somebody that already knows the thing you're trying to figure out and listen to them. So you will see how I messed up next time. For now, this was the episode. I would like to thank you a bunch for watching yet another one, and I look forward to seeing you next time. One last thing before I end the video. If you want to join the YouTube channel actively and play with me and a bunch of others, this Saturday you can join me for Speedy Saturdays. It's a 12-hour vanilla survival challenge where we see what we can get done together in just 12 hours. For more information, check the Discord link in the description and hop on over to learn what it's all about.